Let me ask you something, and really think about it, even if you're just nodding along in your head. If you're retired or getting close to it, does it feel like your money just doesn't stretch the way it used to? Not because you are splurging on luxuries, and not because your planning was off, but because the basics, like your groceries, doctor visits, utilities, and property taxes, keep creeping up, and there's no paycheck coming in to catch you. When you open the mail and you see another bill, and you do that quick mental math, how am I going to cover this without dipping into savings I thought would last? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Surveys from groups like the Senior Citizens League and AARP show that over half of retirees feel the squeeze from rising costs, even after years of careful planning. In 2025, with inflation cooling but still around 2.7%, prices aren't dropping. They're just rising more slowly from a much higher level. Today, we're going to break this down with real 2025 numbers, real stories from retirees like you, and no politics or blame. Just the math, the lived experience, and what it means for retirement security moving forward. We'll cover why fixed incomes feel this first, why healthcare and housing hit hardest, and how families are quietly adapting, why so many feel caught off guard despite doing everything right. And most importantly, practical steps to build more flexibility without sacrificing quality of life. Stick around, we're diving deep, and I promise you'll leave with clarity and some hope. If you're new here, this channel is all about real retirement, early retirement, traditional retirement, and the financial realities once the paycheck stops and income becomes fixed. We talk about what actually happens with no hype or theory. And this isn't about finger pointing or fear. It's about understanding why affordability feels tighter in 2025, especially for retirees, and why even solid planners are feeling the pressure. So let's get into it. Everyone agrees, prices are higher. Headlines say inflation has cooled, but that just means that the rate of increase is slower from a higher base. As of November of 2025, overall inflation is around 2.7% year over year. Now, that sounds tame compared to the 9% peak of 2022, but it means that prices are still climbing. Groceries don't reset lower, utilities don't rewind, and insurance premiums just keep marching up. While working, you might offset this with a raise, overtime, or maybe even a side gig. But retirement is different. Once you're retired, higher prices don't just pinch your budget. They permanently shrink what your income buys. And you can't work a little extra or negotiate a promotion. Social Security adjusts annually, but it lags real costs, especially in healthcare and housing. And this isn't psychological, it's structural. Your income is largely fixed, but expenses aren't. And that's why inflation feels heavier in retirement than during your working years. Here's the core truth. Higher prices don't hit everyone equally. They consume a bigger share of income for those on fixed or modest budgets. So let's break that down with a quick example. Suppose that your monthly income is $3,000, typical for many retirees relying on Social Security and a modest savings. If necessities like food, housing, and healthcare take 70 to 80% of that, even a 3% hike on those items cuts deeply into what's left. Since 2019, cumulative grocery prices are up about 28 to 30%. Food at home rose 28.5% overall. And that same cart of groceries now costs $130 to $140 more per month for many households. Income hasn't kept pace for most retirees. Social Security COLA's average is 2.5 to 3% in recent years. So retirees on fixed incomes can't easily absorb that. There's no easy lever to pull. Let me share a quick story from a viewer. They said that we planned $4,000 a month in retirement income, and groceries alone jumped $150 a month since 2022. And we're not extravagant. We're just eating less fresh produce and skipping some of our doctor visits and things that we enjoy doing. So that's the math. Small percentage increases feel huge when your budget is tight. Lower income retirees and those on modest fixed incomes feel affordability pressures first because necessities dominate their budget. Food, housing, healthcare, transportation, those aren't optional. When prices rise, choices become stark. They start to skip on medication refills, maybe drive less, or delay some home repairs. A 2025 survey from the Senior Citizen League found that over 60% of retirees, they worry inflation will deplete their savings faster than expected. Many report cutting back on essentials, not luxuries. And this isn't failure, it's just math. When 70 to 80% of your income goes to basics, a 5% in those categories leaves almost no room. And it spreads. Families feel it. Adult children move home longer due to housing costs, or parents help with grandkids' expenses. And retirees often end up subsidizing family, adding pressure to an already fixed income. Affordability stress shows up in quiet ways across generations. Adult children live at home longer, not for a lack of ambition, but because housing costs make independence tough. Rent is up too. National averages show 20 to 30% increases in many markets since 2019. Parents often help with rent, groceries, childcare, or even college debt. Meanwhile, adult children help aging parents, covering utilities, co-signing loans, or sharing homes. And for retirees, this means more spending from fixed income. A 2025 AARP report notes that retirees dip into savings to support family, reducing their own buffer. This isn't failure, it's families adapting. But it adds layers of pressure when your income doesn't grow. For those who are in their 40s to 60s and still working, higher prices rarely feel like a crisis, but they do feel quiet. The bills still get paid, life goes on, and behind the scenes, the 401k contribution gets trimmed, catch-up plans delay, and extra savings go to current costs. And a common comment, we're not struggling, but we're not moving forward. That stalled momentum matters. Your 50s to 60s are peak earning years for building margin. When prices rise faster than wages for many, retirement timelines stretch. And data shows the average 401k balances for 50s hover around 600 to 700,000, but many feel behind the 10 times salary benchmark for comfortable retirement. But once retired, higher prices feel deeply personal. You hesitate at the grocery store, the pharmacy, or when the bills arrive. Decisions that were automatic now require thought. In 2025, Social Security COLA was about 2.5%, and in 2026, it's going to be 2.8%. It's helpful, but often not enough for real costs, especially healthcare and housing. Surveys show that 50 to 60% of retirees feel that COLAs haven't matched expenses. Many cut luxuries, but essentials suffer too. And if this resonates, you're not alone, and you're not doing it wrong. The environment has changed. The two areas that dominate retiree stress is housing and healthcare. Housing is often the biggest expense, even mortgage-free. Property taxes, insurance, and maintenance are rising. With the median U.S. home price at $410,000 to $415,000, taxes and insurance track that, up to 20 to 40% in many areas since 2019. And healthcare is unavoidable and unpredictable. Costs rise with age, and Fidelity's 2025 estimate is that a 65-year-old may need $172,000 for healthcare in retirement. Medicare premiums are up 10% in some places. And many say, we planned well, why does this feel tight? And the answer is that costs change faster than assumptions. So why did this catch so many people off guard? Most retirees didn't plan poorly. They used reasonable assumptions. stable expenses, modest inflation, and manageable healthcare. But what has changed is the post-pandemic supply issues, energy prices, wage pressures. Inflation averaged higher than expected. Healthcare and housing rose faster than the general CPI. Many underestimated how fixed income would feel in this environment. Now, what does this mean going forward? This isn't about fear, it's realism. Retirement planning must evolve. The key is flexibility, low fixed cost, and margin over perfection. And some practical steps would be to review budgets and cut some non-essentials. Consider part-time work or a side income. Maybe diversify investments for inflation protection, or delay Social Security if possible to boost your benefits. Explore downsizing or even maybe relocating for lower costs. And build healthcare buffers through maybe an HSA or long-term care insurance. In future videos, we'll dive into these strategies in more detail, including real ways to regain flexibility without sacrificing life quality. And now I want to hear from you. If you're retired or you're nearing it, how have higher prices changed your daily life or your budgeting? Has it shifted retirement timing? Share in the comments below, because these stories help everyone feel less alone. If this resonated, like the video, subscribe for more real retirement talks, and hit notifications so you don't miss the next one on practical fixes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.